studios. This is After 9 with Scott and Kat.
Hey now.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Kat. How are you?
Hi. Well, I'm good, but it's one of those days where I gotta get some shit done today. And I just realized one of the things that's on my list as I looked at it here is Costco. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
Now listen, if I only want a couple things from Costco, is that allowed?
You're allowed to do that.
Like, I can go in and just get a couple items and leave and not spend $400?
Well, I mean, they're going to check your receipt on the way out because
that's fine.
Somebody who tries to get out of Costco with only a couple of things, that's why they have those people
They're
there.
going to red flag me is what you're saying.
Yeah, they're going to like, what the fuck's this chick up to? Where's the rest of it, lady? Come on, let's see your receipt here. I think that's fine. I think you can go in, and if you commit to just going to a specific area, and you know where everything is, if you go to that area, pick up that thing, blinders on, don't get distracted by samples or, oh, shit, there's a new gazebo, even if you don't have a backyard. Like,
That's so true, though.
people do that shit all the time at Costco.
Honestly, I've looked at things. I'm just like, I got to know someone that wants this. Like, what am I doing? Yeah. I don't need a Halloween skeleton yet. It's fucking July.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which,
I know.
What's going on with all these Spirit Halloweens opening up in July?
Listen, the timing makes sense. So Spirit Halloweens tend to pop up at places where there's nothing, right? They lease it out for a couple of months, right? A few months, I guess, in this case. So the timing makes sense that you're starting to see those Spirit Halloween coming soon signs. They're starting to employ this store. They're going to start to hire those seasonal people. I know of a couple people that work at Spirit Halloween every year, even though they're busy. They have stuff going on, but they love Halloween that much. That would be me with Christmas. If there was like Christmas pop-up stores, I'd be like, yeah, fucking right, I'll do that. Just for fun because I like it. But now they're starting to pop up. There's one around the corner from our studio. There's one, oh my God, a lot of locations. I've actually, since I talked about it, I talked about the one in London last week, and I had a couple people DMing me like, uh-oh, it's popping up in Barrie. Uh-oh, it's popping up in Waterloo. Like all these people. So yes, Halloween, Spirit Halloween's coming. But it does make sense. It's going to open in like mid-August, I bet, because there's going to be people who want like the hot costume of the year, whatever that might end up being.
Okay, listen. I know you keep saying it makes sense, but it doesn't. Listen,
does.
The Christmas season now basically goes from Black Friday until Boxing Day. That's over a month. Halloween, no matter how you slice it, is never more than a couple of days. And it's Halloween night in most cases. I don't even know what night Halloween's on this year. Is it on a weekend?
It's like a Thursday or a Wednesday or something.
That's bullshit.
I could tell you. It's a Thursday.
I don't know how many times we have to have this discussion that they should really just make Halloween the last Saturday of October or something like that.
Honestly.
But, that would involve our politicians discussing something that's actually relevant to people. Wouldn't that be a great conversation to see in the House of Commons? Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre and Jagmeet Singh and Yves Francois Blanchet debating whether or not we should keep Halloween on the 31st of October or move it to the last Saturday of the month. And truthfully, I don't even care which side wins. I don't know who would be on what side. But that is a relevant thing that our politicians would never discuss because it's important to people and they don't give a shit.
Yeah, I think that I would love to see it move. And I know there's people who, man, if you work in schools, right? And then the kids that get crazy, the next day is worse than the actual Halloween in terms of like people are all over the place trying to get their kids to go to bed at a decent hour. It's like impossible. I'm at that stage now too, where my kids understand what staying up late is and what it isn't. And on Halloween, they want to stay up late. But if it's a school night, I'm like, and I have to work the next day. I'm like, no, man, we have to go to bed still at the same time. So I'm not going to be able to get away with it for long. But yeah, I would be all for it. A Friday or a Saturday every year.
We're going to talk about a simple question that a lot of people are asking right now in just a few minutes. Where is Joe Biden?
That's a good question. It's a good question. And I know you could go down the rabbit hole.
I did.
And be honest, Scott went down the rabbit hole a bit.
I think he's fucking dead.
Listen,
I think he died. I think Joe Biden is dead.
I don't even blame you for going down the rabbit hole at all, because I see it too. Especially X, formerly Twitter, right? Everybody knows, is teeming with suspicion regarding where the fuck Joe Biden is. And I was looking into some of this as well since you brought it to my attention this morning. And everybody's talking about is making a lot of really good points.
They are.
Right?
Well, they are. I tell you what, we're going to dedicate some time to where is Joe Biden coming up in a few minutes.
And we understand this could go the way of like Kate Middleton, where
Yep.
it's like, oh, there she is. There's the announcement. Wow, she's dealing with some shit. Now, in this case, it's a little slightly different when we know that the president, we were told that the president has COVID.
Is he still the president? Because last night he transferred some powers to like the Secretary of
Well,
State.
there's a lot. This is why a lot of people are talking about it today, guys. So if you haven't heard the latest, we will discuss.
Okay, that's coming up in just a few right here on After 9. It's Tuesday. A lot of people are going to the movies tonight. That means it's going to be another good night for Twisters. And it seems like every day I hear another amazing review. They've now already, even though it's only been open for one weekend, added Twisters to the list of the best disaster movies of all time.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to watch it within the week. Within the week, I'm watching it for sure.
So I'm looking at some of the other disaster movies that have made this list of the best of all time. I've never heard of The Towering Inferno. Apparently, it came out in 1974. That's number one.
How?
It's from the 70s.
It's from the 70s. Like the technology was not there to make it that great. So that's got to be like a weird nostalgic thing or first of its kind gen thing. I don't know.
Number 2 is The Poseidon Adventure
Such a fucking good movie.
from 1972.
Oh, that
It's
one.
even older.
No, haven't you seen Poseidon? The newer Poseidon's really good.
Absolutely.
It's not from the 70s.
Okay, so now
I didn't know that was a remake.
Now we get into more movies that we've heard of. Best disaster movies of all time. The original Twister from 1996.
Good movie.
Epic movie.
Yeah.
It's number 3. Twisters from 2024 is already number 4.
Wow.
Followed by Armageddon and Deep Impact, 5 and 6. Movies about asteroids crashing into the Earth.
Good movies. Armageddon, fabulous. Deep Impact, scary. Like I put that
Scary.
under this. Yeah. Like when you know that.
No.
Oh, yeah.
What's-
A
what's-
lot of people die in that movie. With Armageddon, there's like one death. Spoiler alert.
Was
and
the
it's a
main
very
fucking
sad. It was a
character.
very sad death, but it was one death. Deep Impact is something that, in my mind, could probably potentially happen one day and scares the fucking hell out of me. Is that the one with the tsunami scene?
Yeah,
Like,
so-
oh fuck that, I'm out. Like I'm out.
Asteroid crashes into the Earth. It sends a massive tsunami that I believe they said it goes inland from the U.S. East Coast all the way to like the mountains of Virginia.
Like that's
Hundreds of kilometers.
Scares the fucking piss out of me. I don't like those movies for that reason. Like I've seen it, but I don't like it.
But Morgan Freeman as president, that's a little more reassuring.
I would be reassured with Morgan Freeman, I suppose, but still, it doesn't end well. Have you seen it?
No. Number 7 is Don't Look Up. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes, I did see that movie.
Meant to be tongue-in-cheek about climate change.
Yes.
They're trying to send the message that, well, climate change doesn't exist if you pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
There's a little more to it than that.
The cast was all right. There were some cheesier moments, but it was all right.
The Wave, The Day After Tomorrow from 2004. That was number 9.
Yep.
And 10 was Daylight from 96. 11 is the movie 2012 from 2009.
Good movie. Yeah. John Cusack, right? John Cusack. That's a good one. That was about 20. Do you remember that? The doom and gloom of 2012? Do you remember that?
No.
The rumor was that was the end of the world.
Oh,
it was
I
on
do.
the Mayan calendar.
The Mayan
ended.
calendar, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what the movie was based on.
Okay, all right, sure.
John Cusack was good in it, but otherwise, like the concept is also scary because it's one of those things where if that happened, you just put yourself in that position, and it's fucking crazy to think about.
I used to drive Dave crazy by insisting to him that the day after tomorrow could totally happen, and he used to get so fucking angry that it couldn't. And it's funny because he got all woke and shit all of a sudden. So now he actually is right into the climate change stuff, and now I'm on the opposite side saying that could never fucking happen. Not in our lifetime anyway. Anyway, where do we want to go from here? I don't want to do the Biden stuff yet. The other thing that's on the agenda for today is the LCBO strike is over.
It's over.
Today, the LCBO stores reopen. I got an interesting DM. I'm going to assume from an LCBO employee.
Okay.
Would you like to hear it?
Yes, please.
Actually, it wasn't even a DM. It was a direct tweet. After the last podcast, at Scott Fox on Air can go fuck himself.
Oh.
Privatization is one of the reasons this province is in the shape it's in. Privatization equals a lot of money in the pockets of a very few with absolutely no accountability. You bitch about Trudeau, but Dougie is perfect. Actually, no, Jamie A. He's not perfect, and I'll get to that in a sec, too.
By the way,
Listen.
how does it feel when someone tells you to go fuck yourself?
I understand the passion. He's mad.
I've had it happen to me, too.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. We're allowed to disagree. I don't tell people to go fuck themselves like that. I mean, I think that's incredibly rude, but I mean, this is just the kind of person that can't have a debate in person. Listen, when it comes to privatization, thank you for giving me the opportunity to sell this idea again, whether it is the LCBO, whether it is the healthcare system. I happen to believe, personally, from having witnessed a lifetime of government screw-ups, that the government is just too big and too cumbersome, full of restrictions, full of people that are on the take. It's impossible for government to efficiently run a business. Now, I've seen great business people do a great job at running a business. Mm-hmm. And if you think that our healthcare system is miraculously just going to get better by having more government involvement in it, I have to tell you, you're wrong. If you think the LCBO is going to get better with the government running it, I disagree with that, although not as staunchly as I disagree about healthcare. Listen, government is not set up to run businesses. Businesses and business owners should run businesses. And if they make a profit out of that, they deserve it. They took a risk with their own money to do that. That's how the world works. But if we had private systems, if we had people that have to be accountable either to the owner or the shareholders or whatever, you watch how quickly things will turn around and become efficient. I hear this number all the time, specifically about the LCBO. I'll only go for a minute on this. If the LCBO is making billions of dollars right now, but it has 300 plus stores and over 10,000 unionized employees, imagine if we let private people own each one of those individual LCBOs. Imagine that. They would run far more efficiently. That would be fine. The government wouldn't have the expense of 10,000 unionized employees and the overhead of 300 stores. They would just be taking their excise tax, their sales tax, their royalties, and everything else. We would probably actually make more money for the coffers with a privatized LCBO. And in healthcare, the people that are running it now have had, how long have we had socialized medicine? Decades. And look where we're at. Look where we're at. You can't even get into an emergency room anymore. There's millions of people in this country that can't get a family doctor. It's not supposed to be like that. We had a shot with the public system. It failed. So as long as government pays the bill, i.e. you use your health card, not your credit card, as long as that's the case, who gives a shit who runs it? Do we need a civil servant making $750,000 a year to run the hospital, only to find out they're terrible at their job and we don't have enough doctors and nurses to run the place? No more of that. We appoint business people to run these things. Do you know how well things are going in the knee surgery and cataract surgery and shit since we started allowing people to go to private clinics for that? It's so much better. People are getting treatment they need, and it should be that way all around. So while I disagree with you on privatization, I'm allowed to feel that way. You're certainly allowed to defend the public system if that's your inclination. I just don't think we should tell each other to go fuck yourself.
I agree. Like, that's the thing is, like, I understand that people get angry and certain subjects are sensitive, but you get nowhere when you start off something with can go fuck yourself, in my opinion. So come up with your own logical thought process like Scott did now and explained himself. And you can absolutely explain yourself to Scott, for example, or me, anybody that you might disagree with or come across in life. But doing it that way just makes you come across as not very bright to begin with, to be quite honest with you.
Another one here, I mean, he asked, why is everything Justin does wrong and everything Dougie does right? First off, find me something Justin Trudeau did that is right. Find me anything that Justin Trudeau put in place that's working really well. The cannabis thing seems to be going quite well, but that's 9 years old. Is it is it the passports? Is it the immigration system? Is it our reputation on the world stage? Is it our economy? Find me anything that Justin did that's good, and I'll give him credit for it. No problem. When it comes to Doug, I agree with Doug on the Science Center. I think the Science Center should absolutely move to Ontario Place. I think that's where it should have been all along. However, I do disagree staunchly with Doug Ford on building the 413. I don't know why we need this highway, which does the exact same thing as the 407. What we should be doing is taking back the 407 and making it free, and then allowing people to use that to take the pressure off of the 401. It's the fastest way to get it done. It won't cost us, what is it, $25 billion is the estimate for the 413?
It's very expensive.
Take that $25 billion and buy back the 407. Do something, but we don't need another highway when we already have another highway 10 kilometers south of it that goes the exact same place, but it's a toll road, so people don't want to use it.
I do find it funny if someone believes it's one-sided. Now, listen, this is not a political podcast, though. We just talk about stuff that's happening, okay? That we do. And so I understand the people who want to get really into it and really discuss the nitty-gritty. That's not what we're here for. But what I will say about Dougie specifically is when we do talk about him, it tends to be a lot more lighthearted and we poke fun and all those other things, which I think by all means he
brings it on.
He's fine with, from what I hear as well. And we know, whatever, we've known him, although he hasn't been on the show or pod in a long time. However, when it comes to Dougie, why don't you listen back to when we were coming out of COVID? You tell us how much we like Doug.
Yeah.
We said a lot of not nice things regarding his policy. Not him personally, but regarding his policy at that point. So if you do tend to think it's one-sided, I would implore you to go back and listen. It really is topic to topic.
Well, here's one more that I'm going to disagree with him on. And I know it wasn't entirely or maybe not at all his decision, but he was in Kitchener yesterday. Don't know why he didn't drop by. He was here as we were recording after 9. He could have come in. So get this. This is part of the problem with government in healthcare. It has taken 10 months for this panel that got assembled just to choose a location to put the new regional hospital for the region of Waterloo. All they had to do was pick a spot, and they had a couple different options to choose from. 10 months to decide where to put it. Now they've decided. It's going to take at least 5 years of planning for this new hospital, followed by at least 5 years to build the hospital, meaning nobody is getting anywhere until at least 2035.
And I think a lot of people living in the region would say that this is too late.
So they decided yesterday, this blue ribbon panel here that shows the location, that they're going to build it on the vacant land at the University of Waterloo. So there is some vacant land at U of W. There are some synergies that could be shared in the way of research between the university and the hospital. That's fine. We see that very well at McMaster. McMaster, they share the university resources with McMaster Hospital. It's great. In this case, though, why would we put a hospital, a regional hospital, at the very northern tip of the region? I don't understand this. If you live in Cambridge, if you live in Ayr, if you live in Puslinch, North Dumfries, the southern end of Waterloo Region, you're a 40-minute drive from your new hospital. 40-minute drive to your new hospital. Think about that. It's closer if you live in Cambridge or North Dumfries to go to fucking Hamilton than it is to go to your own hospital because they put it at the northern tip. We have all this land in the middle of the region. Whether we're talking Breslau, whether we're talking the Sports World Crossing area where the Toyota plant is, it's nothing but land. In fact, the region has been trying to expropriate some land in that area for other projects. It's right in the center. All areas of the region could have accessed it equally. Glad they're building a hospital. Crazy that it's going to take at least 11 years to get done. I just don't understand why they would put it so far north and alienate all those people in Cambridge, Ayr, North Dumfries, and Puslinch. It doesn't make any sense to me.
By the time it opens in 10 years, it's quite possible another announcement will be made and another one will be there because the population has boomed so much in the Waterloo region. It's insane. And I mean, I look at the map of Kitchener. There is a hospital in Grand River and even in St. Mary's. St. Mary's is actually very much closest to the middle, I think, of that entire area. But yeah, there's other places that could get served. I mean, I don't know what was a part of finding it. Maybe there was issue with cost. I don't know.
Maybe somebody got paid off.
I wasn't a part of it. A lot of the time, stuff like that happens. I think what's really important is that this is made. I just wish it was made sooner.
Yeah, I just... Case in point, that's government work, right? It took them months to appoint the panel. It took the panel 10 months to pick the location. It'll take the engineers 5 years of planning. Then it'll take the construction and trades workers a little over 5 years to build it. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't happen that way, the other way around. If somebody was If some multimillionaire came to Kitchener and said, I want to build a new hospital here because I see a business case for this. I think there's enough people in the region to sustain it. I want to build a hospital. How long until that building is up and running? I mean, they can build a condo tower with 700 units in about 4 months now.
It's frustrating. That part is absolutely frustrating.
It's going to take 11 years to make a hospital?
It's nuts.
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on from that because we did ask a very important question at the beginning of this podcast. Where is Joe Biden? The president hasn't been seen in over a week. And I think we know that there's a ton of rumors. I'm not even going to call them conspiracy theories because everything that's been called a conspiracy theory lately, a lot of them have come true. So this is what some of the underlying conversations on social media are. Nobody has seen the president in over a week. Last we saw him, he was in Las Vegas. There's a lot of reports from police officers in Las Vegas that they got a call to clear the streets because there was a medical emergency and they had to get Joe Biden to the hospital. Now, somewhere along the line, the decision was made, no, don't take him to a Vegas hospital. Get him on Air Force One. Let's get back to Washington. There were some reports, I think it was last Thursday night. I was seeing reports when I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning for the radio show that a medical emergency was declared on Air Force One. Well, that kind of lines up with the story that happened in Vegas that they initially told the Las Vegas PD, clear the streets, we're getting the president to the hospital. But then that story just disappeared. It vanished. The next morning, we were told Joe Biden's got COVID, and we still haven't seen him. Sunday, this mysterious letter comes out, electronically written and signed, that says Joe Biden is dropping out of the race. We still haven't seen Joe Biden. And I have to think that if Barack Obama were making it as an announcement as important as I'm eligible to run for another term, but I'm not going to, even though I've already won the nomination, I'm not going to do it. If Obama had done that, if Trump had done that, if Bush had done that, any of them, there would have been either an Oval Office address or there would have been a White House press briefing. And there has been nothing so far.
But that's right, because we know that he is unwell and unable to. Would a video help? So let's say that this is all accurate, that he has COVID, because I know there's some people who don't even believe he has COVID. So if that's accurate that he has COVID and he's resting, I know nobody when they're sick wants to turn on a video and be like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Nobody wants to do that, especially when you're as old as Joe Biden is, right? We know that this is actually a scary situation when he gets sick, much like any senior, but I think in this particular case, this is reminiscent to me, although very different, of the "Where is Kate Middleton" thing.
Right.
But different and shorter, right? It's only been a few days with Joe Biden. It hasn't been that long. However, the conspiracy theories do start, and I feel like they know that. They know that conspiracy theories start when you do things like this. When you did it this way, did you realize that people were going to talk? So if everything's kosher, if you will, everything's fine, then they probably need to do they need to step up today and try to get that message out. We know that the theories are out there that he's already dead or he was dead before this.
A lot of people
we
think
know that.
But a lot of people do think he's dead.
Sure, fine. There's a lot of people who think Elvis is alive. There's a lot of people who think Avril Lavigne isn't Avril Lavigne and Lady Gaga is also not Lady Gaga and blah, blah, blah. What is true and what's not when it comes to all that shit, I don't know. But there's that theory. There's the theory that he is very, very sick. Why wouldn't they just come forward and say he's very, very sick? Because they're worried that people would not believe that he gave up his presidency, essentially?
A lot of people...
Is that it?
Well, did he give it up? Because we've known... Here's the theory that's out there. A lot of people think that when he debated Donald Trump in June, Trump fell for a trap. Trump probably shouldn't have debated Biden in an official presidential debate, the earliest they've ever done one. Trump wanted to prove a point and mop the floor with him, and he did. Probably should have waited until he had secured the nomination and until Biden had secured his nomination. That's usually when the debates begin, is after you're officially the nominee. A lot of people think they did that debate because the people in the higher-ups in the Democrat Party knew Biden probably wasn't up to the job, and they knew that if he got embarrassed in a debate against Trump, they would be able to get rid of him as the nominee. But that's election interference. If you've got a duly elected, secured enough delegates at the convention to win the nomination, you're the presumptive nominee. And Biden did that. If people higher ups in the Democratic Party went to Joe Biden and leaned on him, pressured him to drop out of the race, did they threaten him? Did they bribe him? Did they try and appeal to his sense of morality, like, oh, if you believe in the cause, you have to step down, otherwise we're going to lose? Either way, millions of people voted for Joe Biden, and that doesn't matter now. Yesterday, they say they did this big survey of the delegates that are technically supposed to go to Joe Biden. They surveyed the delegates, and they say, well, now they're all committed to Kamala Harris. They're going to rally behind her. I mean, they kind of have to do that because of what you mentioned yesterday, all the money that Joe Biden had raised. They just, in one foul swoop, transferred it all to Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
So she's got this massive war chest
Like
to begin.
81 million or something like that.
Well, she raised a lot of money herself.
Yeah.
That wasn't a lot of soft donations like they're saying. There was a lot of like wealthy individuals that stroked multi-million-dollar checks to her. We know that, but there's also people who don't want Donald Trump to win, who want a Democratic candidate, but they just didn't like Joe Biden. So they get Kamala Harris and they think, okay, fine, donate some money. Let's try and get her to win. Great. That's how the political process works. But either way, they transferred millions of dollars to her. They've already taken Biden's name off of the campaign office. It's like the fucking guy doesn't even exist. And we still haven't even heard from him in his own words. Yes, I did this for this reason. This is why.
Yeah. Oh, and where's Jill?
Where is Jill Biden? Because she was very vocal for a while there.
Yeah. So I feel like also if he isn't well, let's just hope that, I don't know, like for me, it could just very well be that, yeah, COVID he needs a lot more sleep than, your average person who's trying to come back from an illness. That's going to happen. Jill hopefully is by his side. But if anything, like I think some people would take comfort, the people who were actually worried about Joe Biden, in at least seeing her and maybe her being like, yeah, he's doing well. This is what's happening. He's, maybe he's lost his voice, whatever, if that's the case. But something like that probably should be done just to ease some people's minds. But in terms of like the sign changes and the money transfer, I think that just comes down to politics, what he's in, what he chose to be in for his life. That's kind of the system that he chose to be a part of. And anyone who's in politics chooses to be a part of. You are the puppet for the party. And sure, sometimes you come off as a charismatic person. Sometimes your personality shines through and you do a lot of things after you're president, maybe like more of a Barack Obama type figure. But that's what you chose. And you should probably know that you're just speaking for a party. So if you can't speak for the party, bye. We're going to find this person who can, and that person who you can win with. Politics are shitty. Politics have never been fun and a friendly game. They've always been shit. So this doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Kat, there. There's something just very bizarre about this whole thing. I mean, typically in a time of crisis, which this is, you've got a sitting president eligible for another term, secured the nomination, and then withdrew, and nobody has actually heard from him. They put out a letter, not even on letterhead. The signature, not Biden's. It was electronically signed, now they say.
Oh, that's why there's the underline in it, because I know there's also conspiracy regarding that. Okay, so an electronic signature.
Yeah, like Biden doesn't usually put a line under his name, but he did in this case. So they're saying now it's an electronic signature. We haven't heard from the actual man himself, and there's a lot of people who love Joe Biden, happy with the last 4 years, would have liked to see him go on for another 4 years. Keep in mind, before that debate in June, they were full steam ahead with Biden. He had the full support of Obama and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris herself. They all were behind Biden. It was when he screwed up in the debate and it became obvious he wasn't going to be able to compete with Trump, they all turned on him. And God, did they ever throw him to the trash real quick. And I just want to hear from Joe that everything's on the up and up here.
Yeah. And by the way, as we record this, we haven't heard from him. By all means, he could talk today. He could send out a video today. Something could happen today. So it could happen still.
It could happen. But I mean, just last night, Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, landed in America. He's going to speak to Congress tomorrow. In any other circumstance, when an ally like Israel visits America, the president or the vice president will go and greet him when he lands. Biden and Harris, neither of them showed up to greet the Israeli prime minister yesterday. It's really, really weird. But I have to think that If he's going to address Congress, somebody's going to have to be in public, whether it's Harris or Biden. If it's Harris and not Biden, that's going to lead to a lot more questions. But I'll spend just a couple minutes on this. Speaking of questions, did you watch that Secret Service director get grilled yesterday by Congress?
No.
Listen to a little bit of this.
Okay, my first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter, yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question, yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible.
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure, yes or no?
Yes.
Was this tragedy preventable, yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent, yes or no?
I have always been.
Yes.
It wasn't good. I can't believe the Secret Service director hasn't stepped down. I was one of the ones who initially said she wasn't there. It's not like she was in charge. She just runs the overall agency. The CEO doesn't manage the day-to-day operations in all the little satellite offices anywhere. Now it's starting to seem like she should probably step down, and it doesn't look like she's going to. So they've introduced a motion calling on her to be fired. We'll see where it goes. Let's get on to a couple other things here on this episode of After 9. I'm thinking about where do I want to go here? Let's do the dating text thing. You're not in the dating world. You're happily married. Mm-hmm. I'm not in the dating world anymore. I am happily
I date my
attached.
husband now and again. Does that count?
Do you ever DM each other?
DM? Yeah, all the time.
Really?
Yeah?
Anything provocative, sexy, controversial?
We usually send each other TikTok videos and Instagram reels that we each find funny.
You ever in the same room and send it to
Yep,
each other?
100%.
I do that all the time with my girlfriend,
Yep.
and I think, why the fuck didn't I just go over to that couch and show her?
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier that way sometimes because sometimes they don't want to watch it yet or whatever. It's just like, watch it later.
2,000 users of people on Tinder and Bumble were asked about some of the cringiest things that get sent through the DMs. Here we go.
You don't even need to be on a dating site to get cringy DMs.
Oh, people are
Just so you know.
people are sliding into DMs on like fucking LinkedIn and stuff these
Oh,
days.
yeah.
It's gross.
That's right.
Gross. There's the right platform for a different scenario, everybody. The number one cringiest thing you can do is say send pics.
Oh.
40
Yes.
45% rated it as one of the rudest or cringiest things you can say, especially if it's the first message you send.
Oh my God.
What a way to say, I'm not interested in anything else except my own personal satisfaction, and you're going to do it for me.
Yeah, it is. It's right off the top. So rude and gross, and you don't even seem to care what that person thinks of you. Right? Like you don't even think with it, you don't even care at that point. You're just sending it out to 50. In my mind, this is someone who sends it out to like 50 people in the hopes to get one pic back.
But if they do, wasn't it worth it? I mean,
If
if you
you're-
type send pics to 10 different women and even one of them sends you a boob pic or something, aren't
I
you
don't
pretty
get
happy
that.
about
See,
that?
but those people don't. I don't get you people. I don't get those people. I shouldn't say you people. None of the people that listen to this podcast would do stupid shit like that. You can just go online and find pictures of tits if that's what you want. Go find it. They're out there. There's people who are employed to do this for your pleasure. Don't fucking DM someone who's just looking for a relationship, whether they're attractive or not, whether you think they're asking for it or not in their profile photo. That's not what they're there for, man. Go look at titties if you want to look at titties. Don't DM someone asking, can I see pics? Get the fuck out of here.
You know what I've found? And maybe this wouldn't work for everybody, but in my experience, one of the best things you can do, if you're the type that would go online and to a complete stranger, send pics. I think that's ridiculous. You should try a real naked woman because they look just incredible and they feel good and they smell
Wait a minute.
amazing.
You mean 3D, like in person?
Like an actual person,
Yeah, you can do that.
You know, you could look at those titty pictures or you could just get a real naked woman in front of you and it's great. Like, honest to God, highly recommended. So much better than your dumb little titty pics. Like, get a real naked woman in front of you. There's nothing like it. Seeing it right there in person is great.
That's so funny. Do people like getting teased? Is that what it is? The people that ask for the pics? Like, do you think those people just don't get laid in real life, I mean? Do you think that's more the type?
I tend to think that they don't.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I have never, knock on wood, I've never had a problem meeting or approaching women. And I can confidently say that I've had some great experiences with certain of them. And some of them looked great naked. I don't really need them to send pics. Now, if you're in maybe you're in a marriage and your partner is, or in a relationship and your partner's away on business, you're feeling a little frisky. Sometimes that can be a fun little game. Yeah, send me a little pic or something. But to just slide into a stranger's DMs or in the first exchange when you're trying to create a relationship or a hookup, send pics. It just comes across awful. And there's the proof for you. 45% say it is the single rudest or cringiest thing you can do.
It's cringe.
Try a real woman. They're amazing. The eggplant emoji is number 2.
Yep. Same vibe. Same vibe.
Hey, sexy, what's your number? Number 3. Jesus, that's when you're trying to take it to text too quick, right?
Like, who are these people? Who taught you how to do this? Mm-hmm. Do we need to, as parents, start to sit kids down and tell them how to treat people?
I as a dad,
I hope I bet you did.
Yeah,
you didn't you?
I got a son in his early 20s, and I have had conversations with him, not in depth about send pics versus go see an actual naked woman. That's a lesson he'll have to learn on his own.
But how to speak to people in general, and if there's someone you're attracted to, how to speak to them and how to approach that situation, right?
You know, one of the most important life skills is being respectful in any scenario. And if you can find a way to flirt in a respectful way that shows that I'm really interested in you, but I'm not objectifying you or anything like that, I think it's one of the best messages you can send.
Amen.
Gentlemen, teach your kids. And by the way, that's your boys. Teach your boys how to not be a fucking douche on social media. Also teach your girls not to fall for that shit.
Yeah.
Don't fall for that shit. Some guy just says, hey, send pics. Don't do it. What are you thinking?
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Do you like bad boys?
No.
If
See,
you
it's
ask,
a real good.
do you like bad boys? As if you're the bad boy
I've
that's
had
going
that
to fill
before.
that need.
I've had that before. As like a pickup line, like, you like bad? I'm like, no. You just shut it right down, like, nope. Or you are one? Nope, not interested. They don't know what to say at that point. Like, well, I'm not one. Like, why'd you bring it up then? Fucking loser.
Cringy responses was number 5. These are the, like when they say, okay, gotta go, I gotta take a shower. And you write back, can I come in? Or without me? Stupid shit like that.
Right.
Yeah, we get it. If you were there, maybe you would jump in the shower together, but you're not, so you're just coming off douchey. That was number 5. A few more that ranked highly on the list. When you do things like spell hot, as in, you're so hot, HAWT. Asking, what are you wearing?
People still do. That's one as old as time.
It certainly is, Kat.
When they first started texts, people started doing this. Facebook Messenger first started, people were doing that.
Mm-hmm. If you send the acronym DTF.
Down to fuck? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, fair question. If you want to, you can certainly ask the other person if they're interested, but if they say no.
Take it as a no?
Take it as a no and move on. Like they're not in the mood. And writing hey with multiple Y's. Yeah, it's just fucking what are we doing? What are we doing? Fucking dumb.
I've seen that at work. Like, never mind trying to fix
Hey.
Hey.
Guys, we got to go. But as you know, if you have been listening to the last few episodes of After 9, we have decided to take a hiatus for the month of August. And we're going to be on vacation next week. So Friday is the last After 9 until the Tuesday after Labor Day. After Labor Day, we get back into it, and we might even reimagine it a little bit. We'll still be doing a daily podcast for you, though, but we're taking the month of August off because I need a break. I don't know about you, but I need a break. We do this every day, all year round, and I'm a little burnt out.
Yeah.
So we're and getting edgy, as you can see, because now I'm reading the shitty DMs. So we're
stop telling people to go fuck themselves. Okay? That's not a good basis for your argument.
We will have a couple more episodes before week's end, and then we are on the August hiatus, returning in September. We will hopefully see you tomorrow for another After 9.
Goodbye, friends.